I go out there's a bunch of thugs all lined up. All I hear is jib jab going back and forth. And while I'm separating it, things are quiet, but then shot comes around my shoulder and cracks the main dude in the face.
I don't like gang stuff.
I am not gang. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gang.
I don't like gangs. I don't like conspiracy. I don't like the word Rico. Like none of that. So you see the young boys say, you ain't got no body.
When did the relationship start to go south with 50?
You know, I was tolerating a lot of undesired energy.
Right.
50 Cent's old Bodyguard just dropped some wild truths about what really went down with the Crips, and it's deeper than anyone thought. He's spilling how backdoor deals, shady bribes, and straight-up intimidation had 50 on high alert for years. People were trying to test him, forgetting this man was built for the streets long before the music money came in. Back in the day, they called him Boo Boo, and trust, nobody dared cross him back then.
With Boo Boo, I'm not even gonna call him 50. 50 was a street that basically set the street shit, but was still involved in the street shit and started rapping. You understand what I'm saying?
See, here's the real deal. 50 Cent's always kept it straight. He said time and time again, he don't gang bang, never has, never will, and that checks out. When most rappers step into certain hoods, they gotta drop a little something to the local crews. It's that street tax everyone talks about. But 50? Nah, he don't play that game. He walks in like he owns the block, and that rubbed a lot of heavy hitters the wrong way. These weren't small timers either. These were real movers with pull. And after one wild encounter, Spider Loc's whole energy changed. He got so spooked that when G-Unit started getting heated, he just vanished instead of holding his ground.
We've always made early residents. I am not gang. I do not gang bang.
I do not like Rico. I do not like conspiracy. Keep both of those brothers away from me. These laws were designed to bring down the mafia. When you think crime in general, right? And then like when they would run into it, they go, this is, wait, it's not the neighborhood stuff. This is the other stuff, right?
What's crazy is 50 Cent was never tied to any gang at all. Yeah, he came up in the roughest parts of Queens, but he always moved solo, making his own rules. 50 built his own circle from the ground up, went toe-to-toe with bigger crews, and still came out untouched. Real talk. When he got busted at 19 after selling to an undercover, cops raided his spot and found a stash of that white in a piece tucked away. That moment hit hard. It was the slap of reality that told him straight up it was time to flip the script and leave that street life behind.
50 was the type of dude, he was outside when he was 12 years old. You know, his mother and father, he didn't have too much knowledge of them. He had knowledge of his mother, but his father.
But here's where things started getting messy. Spider Loc was a full-time Crip, no part-time energy, all blue flag business, and he even tried to spark his own spin-off movement called G-Unit Crips. Out of loyalty, 50 and the crew rolled with it for a while, showing support and keeping the unity tight. They even let him bring a full squad, over 100 Crips on stage during performances. But that alliance came with heavy baggage. One show had to be straight up canceled when the venue filled up with Bloods instead. Yeah, you can imagine how wild that tension got.
You know, really with, Spider Loc and the Crips in LA. You know me, New York. So I don't really know LA politics.
Against my advice, he prompted the homies to take the stage with him, and he announced to the San Diego crowd something to the effect of, what's wrong with this picture? I'm a New York 100 Crips on stage.
It didn't stop at the concerts either. Spider Loc's video shoots were getting lit up, no cap. Rival sets were sliding through trying to make statements, turning every location into a war zone. Things got way too hot, and 50 wasn't about to risk it all for street politics. After watching chaos follow every move, he finally said enough is enough. 50 knew those gang ties were messing up the money, so he had to cut Spider Loc loose for good.
Without going into a whole bunch of detail, I've told the story plenty of times, but him doing that triggered some irritation from the crowd. And one thing led to another, and there were items going back and forth from the crowd to the stage.
And everybody knows, 50 Cent don't back down from nobody. Not Suge Knight, not the so-called big dogs, none of them. Remember that time Sugie tried to test him when 50 was just breaking into the game? Most people would have folded under that kind of pressure, but not 50. He stood tall, chest out, and made it clear he wasn't scared of no legend's shadow. He even pulled up to the Indoor Club video shoot, fully aware Suge was lurking, trying to shake him. Didn't flinch once.
He showed up in the club video. He came, it was like, shoot outside, shoot outside. Everybody like, it was running, dropped, like, man, everybody go, I'm in front of the camera like this.
But let's be real. Spider Loc was far from the only one who had smoke with 50. Over the years, 50 Cent's gone toe-to-toe with some of the most feared and powerful names in the game, and a lot of those clashes could have ended in bloodshed. Still, every single time, he walks away the last man standing. Now rewind to March 24th, 2000. Outside the legendary Hit Factory studio in New York. That's where 50 got stabbed in the back, literally, and it all sparked from his iconic feud with Ja Rule and Murder Inc., one of the wildest beefs hip-hop's ever seen.
History and our beef with 50 Cent, all I hear is say, well, if niggas tried to get me shot, or niggas had something to do with getting me shot, or niggas did this and that to me.
So here's how the madness kicked off. Ja Rule was out in Queens shooting a video when one of 50's boys straight up snatched his chain, and from that moment, it was war. Things spiraled fast. Next thing you know, Murder Inc. bosses Irv Gotti and Chris Gotti jumped in, allegedly putting hands on 50, but those charges disappeared real quick. Later that same night at the Hit Factory, Black Child, one of Murder Inc.'s own artists, stabbed 50 during the chaos. He tried to play it off as self-defense, claiming he thought someone had a piece. But 50 still walked away after getting 3 stitches because we all know 50 don't take hits lying down. That just made him double back harder.
Like, he ran through the lobby, me and Ja chased him through the lobby, and then the elevator doors just like closed just in time, but that's a whole nother story, you know what I mean?
And when it comes to being petty, nobody touches 50 Cent, man. His level of trolling is legendary. Even when Irv Gotti recently passed away, 50 didn't hold back for a second. Right after the news dropped, he hopped online, posted a pic of himself chilling with a hookah next to a fake gravestone and captioned it, "I'm smoking on that Gotti pack. Nah, God bless him." LOL, that's classic 50, mixing shade with sarcasm like nobody else can. And then there's Bang'em Smurf, one of his original day ones from back before the fame. They used to be tight, but once 50's career skyrocketed, things went left fast. By Hot 97 Summer Jam in 2004, their friendship had completely flipped into straight-up hatred.
Shit, who? Smurf?
Smurf. Yeah.
Yeah, look. That's my baby. You understand what I'm saying? Smurf is my baby boy.
50 and G-Unit were rocking the stage, energy through the roof, and then out of nowhere, guess who pops up front row? Bang'em Smurf, Domination, and the whole Silverback Gorilla crew. They didn't come to watch. They came to taunt 50, trying to get under his skin. It didn't take long before things got wild. 50 and Lloyd Banks started tossing cash straight at Smurf's crew, just to clown them in front of everybody. And when that petty level wasn't enough, 50 went all in. He grabbed a bottle and splashed water right on them. Pure disrespect, full stage humiliation.
Big white boys and shit, so I said, oh, that's how y'all giving it up. That niggas ain't tossing me up in here, so I jumped back over the barricade and shit. So I started throwing chairs. I see dudes on the floor, we throwing dudes, like, cause then there was a mini ride running all over the place.
Man, Smurf completely snapped after that. He tried to leap over the barricade while his whole crew started launching chairs straight at 50 and G-Unit like it was a full-on brawl. Even DJ Who Kid, who was spinning that night, said he never saw chaos hit that hard. But that's the thing, this is 50 Cent's world. Drama, tension, and mayhem just seem to orbit around him like it's part of the show. Every move he makes comes with fireworks.
Real, man.
Say that again?
Like we was holding this down like he was a boss. Yeah. Real, man. Yeah, like something like he was a boss. Opening doors, pistols, all that. We was the security.
And you already know we can't skip over 50's fallout with the game, one of the most explosive beefs hip-hop's ever seen. It all popped off back in February 2005 when 50 pulled up to Hot 97, locked in and ready to make a statement. He wasn't playing around. He came there with one goal in mind, to kick Game out of G-Unit for good.
Game, you think your relationship is repairable?
I don't know what really caused it, Biggs. I don't try to patch relationships, friendship. When they fall apart and you have no idea, like, what was the motivation?
While sitting down with Funkmaster Flex, 50 didn't hold back. He straight up called out the Game for being disloyal. The reason? Game refused to ride with him through his beefs, choosing to play neutral instead of standing beside the man who put him on. And get this, while 50 was airing him out live on the radio, Game and his crew were already outside the station, strapped with bad intentions and ready for smoke.
Walking down this long ass hallway and I was like, Fresh Light, Impala, and then Dre was walking back in the studio and he was like, hey, I was like, yeah. And he was like, what's that?
It didn't take long before things turned violent. Shots rang out and Game's boy Kevin Reed caught one in the leg. After that, Game realized the street heat wasn't worth it and decided to fall back. But by then, the damage was already done. The tension between him and 50 never really cooled off. It just simmered under the surface. And out of that chaos came another explosive chapter. the Jimmy Henchman beef. It all jumped off in 2005 when 50 went live on Hot 97 and officially kicked Game out of G-Unit for the whole world to hear. And guess who was Game's manager at that time? None other than Jimmy Henchman, and trust me, he wasn't about to let that kind of disrespect slide.
Yeah, no, you can't do an interview inside of Hot 97.
Right.
Because I think it was like that building was part of like some...
It was Viacom or some shit.
Well, no, it wasn't Viacom. It was like part of like some union or something, workers union or something. And they were like, man, listen, we can't have this stuff.
Still to this day.
Yeah, to this day, you still can't.
Things went left fast, real fast. Arguments turned into full-blown chaos, and before long, shots were allegedly fired. From that point on, it was officially up and stuck between 50 and Jimmy Henchman. By 2007, their feud hit a whole new level of danger. Henchman's 14-year-old son was attacked by G-Unit's own Tony Yayo and Lloyd Lodi Mack. And if you know Henchman's history, you already know he wasn't letting that slide for a second. Retaliation came fast, cold, and calculated. Everything reached its breaking point while 50 and Akon were filming their video for I'll Still Kill. According to Tony Yayo, Henchman and his crew pulled up strapped and allegedly ready to take out 50 and his entire squad. It was pure chaos behind the cameras that day.
On the paperwork, and Henchman and them niggas supposed to come through, and I guess they gun jammed, but we had God on that side, and they backed out on the hit, but we had straps too, and that really was it.
After the attack on Henchman's son, both Tony Yayo and Lodi Mack were hit with charges for their part in it. Yayo walked away with community service, but Lodi wasn't so lucky. He ended up serving real time behind bars. And here's where things take a dark turn. Just weeks after Lodi got released, he was shot and killed in what many believe was a cold revenge hit ordered by Henchman himself. Fast forward to March 2015, Jimmy Henchman was convicted for allegedly putting that red rum in motion and got sentenced to life plus 20 years. But the story didn't end there. In November 2016, his conviction got overturned, keeping this whole saga as wild, tangled, and unpredictable as ever.
But listen, at the end of the day, when the kid got slapped, right? It's all fair and war. You already know what's gonna go.
Yeah.
You know, for anybody who got kids, I understand how the felt.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my shit got shot up.
But that still ain't the end of the story, because Jimmy Henchman's name is forever tied to one of the most infamous moments in hip-hop history. The 1994 shooting of Tupac Shakur at Quad Studios in Manhattan. That was the night Pac got hit but survived, a move that lit the fuse for the entire East Coast versus West Coast war that would later take both Tupac and Biggie's lives. And through all the whispers, all the reports, one name just kept resurfacing in connection to that setup. Jimmy Henchman. His shadow's been over that story ever since.
And an associate of Jimmy point blank told me in a conversation that they had him in jail.
In a jaw-dropping confession, Dexter Isaac, who's serving life on unrelated charges, came forward and admitted he was the one who shot and robbed Tupac that night at Quad Studios. And guess who allegedly paid him to pull the trigger? Jimmy Henchman, dropping just $2,500 to make it happen. Crazy, right? Through all that madness, 50 Cent still rose to the top and stayed there like nothing could touch him. That's why his name still echoes through the game today, because surviving that kind of chaos isn't luck, it's legacy. But after hearing all this, what do you think? Was Spider Loc really scared of 50, or was it just business gone bad in the street world? And with all these deadly beefs 50's lived through, is that why so many rappers stay silent when his name gets mentioned? Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button if you're feeling this breakdown, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next wild chapter.